Hey, Flo here for one last Bible reading, I think, unless I decide to do more, but I don't think so. Oh man, there's one place. Maybe I should do a finale at a place where I can live stream. I don't know, because these are all like what I'm calling fake live streams because they're not really live because there's not good enough signal here. But so I'm just gonna record these and upload them later. But there's so many places here. This place is cool. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure, I'm relatively confident I can climb that slanted thing over there. I haven't even gone up close to it yet, so I don't know exactly what I'll encounter, but that's my goal. I'm gonna sit up right near 2/3 up where that little tiny bush is. It's my goal anyway. See if I can manage it. I could literally stay here for like 3 weeks straight and not exhaust all of the cool options that there are. Wow, this is amazing. I wish I had my 360 camera for this stuff, or a 360 camera I should say, because the one that you could say I have is broken, don't work no more. All right. This is cool. Wow, this stuff is amazing. Very interesting shapes. It's pretty safe up here. The biggest threat, I think, currently to me in general is the heat. I just have to make sure I don't overheat. But as far as climbing goes, this is not very difficult. It's just a slanted walk, really. I do have to watch for like loose, crumbly things, because that can get dangerous. Here's that little bush I was talking about. There's a nice flat area. All right, this will work. Okay. Awesome. This is probably the best seating spot I've had so far. Okay, before I forget, I'm going to mark it. Okay. Yeah, this is nice. Bet it looks pretty cool too. It's always hard to visualize scale until you see a person on top of something or next to something. And even then, unless you get the camera angle just right, it can kind of ruin the perspective. It's kind of hard to do it right. Oh. But I got one more reading. It's actually the longest one yet. At least it looks like it is. I'll be up here for a little while. Hopefully the wireless mic is transmitting this distance. Man, this is an amazing place. There's got to be like, I would hate to see it like ruined by a bunch of scientists coming in and doing excavation to discover things, but I would not be surprised if there is some unbelievable stuff either inside these rocks or just like inspecting the shape of the rocks and understanding what happened here, because it's very, very unusual, and there's massive amounts of these rocks. Like I only showed you probably 1% of what's in this just small area, and then around it is even more. It's just endless. It's crazy stuff. And also up here I'm seeing a distant butte that looks pretty cool. I've probably been there, but I can't identify what it is from memory. Okay, for some reason my smart button isn't working for some, just all of a sudden. Oh, I see. For some reason the app reset itself. That's weird. I don't know if I would climb to the top of this. I can't really see what's behind me, but from down there it looks pretty climby. And I'm not an accomplished rock climber. Looking at that, I think I could probably do it, but I wouldn't feel super safe. Like that very last part is pretty much vertical, and there's not as many handholds up there as there are on this other stuff. So I would be testing my limits a little there, so I don't think I'll climb that today. There could be an easier way up, either on the other side or some angle that I can't see from here. But from what I see behind me, it looks pretty gross. I think it would be easy for somebody that's into rock climbing, but I'm more of a learn as I go and haven't done much of it, so. All right. Let's get this going before I have a heat stroke or something. Speaking of which, I need to outlay drink a little bit. Just keep it going. Hopefully this will work. So today's reading is Numbers 18 to 20, Matthew 21, 1 to 22, Mark 11, Luke 19, 28 to 48, and John 12, 1 to 19. We must be getting kind of close to the end of Jesus's life, sort of. He's talking about Jerusalem. I can't remember all the stuff that still needs to happen, but I sort of recall, or think I recall, that when it starts having all four Gospels in parallel like this, it might start some of the Holy Week stuff pretty soon. I don't know. Guess we'll find out. Numbers chapter 18. So the Lord said to Aaron, "You and your sons and your father's house must bear the iniquity involving the sanctuary." I just got to stop it right there. In that one of those last chapters, Moses said something like, "You don't know what," I don't remember exactly how he said it, but "you don't know what you're asking for here," basically is kind of what I got out of it. It's like, trust me, you don't want this. I don't know if he actually said it that way, or if he was like kind of sarcastic, but what I got out of it is like, you really want to be the leader of all these people and bear that iniquity and bear that responsibility on yourself? It's not a power trip, dudes. Like, God is in control here. It's not me. It's not Moses. And you want that responsibility of facing him with every decision that you make. If you make one mistake, you're doomed, and you're already making a mistake because you're defying him. It's like, trust me, guys, don't go there. Your head isn't in the right place. Anyway, and it just repeated that again. That same concept here. All right, I'll start over. Numbers chapter 18. So the Lord said to Aaron, "You and your sons and your father's house must bear the iniquity involving the sanctuary, and you and your sons alone must bear the iniquity involving your priesthood. But bring with you also your brothers from the tribe of Levi, the tribe of your father, that they may join you and assist you and your sons before the tent of the testimony. And they shall attend to your duties and to all the duties of the tent. But they must not come near to the furnishings of the sanctuary or the altar, or both they and you will die. They are to join you and attend to the duties of the tent of meeting, doing all the work of the tent, but no outsider may come near you. And you shall attend to the duties of the sanctuary and of the altar, so that wrath may not fall on the Israelites again. Behold, I myself have selected your fellow Levites from the Israelites as a gift to you, dedicated to the Lord to perform the service for the tent of meeting. But only you and your sons shall attend to your priesthood for everything concerning the altar and what is inside the veil, and you are to perform that service. I am giving you the work of the priesthood as a gift, but any outsider who comes near the sanctuary must be put to death." Then the Lord said to Aaron, "Behold, I have put you in charge of my offerings. As for all the sacred offerings of the Israelites, I have given them to you and your sons as a portion and a permanent statute. A portion of the most holy offerings reserved from the fire will be yours. From all the offerings they render to me as most holy offerings, whether grain offerings or sin offerings or guilt offerings, that part belongs to you and your sons. You are to eat it as a most holy offering, and every male may eat it. You shall regard it as holy. And this is yours as well, the offering of their gifts, along with all the wave offerings of the Israelites. I have given this to you and your sons and daughters as a permanent statute. Every ceremonially clean person in your household may eat it. I give you all the freshest olive oil and all the finest new wine and grain that the Israelites give to the Lord as their firstfruits. The firstfruits of everything in their land that they bring to the Lord will belong to you. Every ceremonially clean person in your household may eat them. Every devoted thing in Israel belongs to you. The firstborn of every womb, every man or beast that is offered to the Lord belongs to you. But you must surely redeem every firstborn son and every firstborn male of unclean animals. But you must surely redeem every firstborn son and every firstborn male of unclean animals. You are to pay the redemption price for a month-old male according to your valuation, 5 shekels of silver according to the sanctuary shekel, which is 20 gerahs. But you must not redeem the firstborn of an ox, a sheep, or a goat. They are holy. You are to sprinkle their blood on the altar and burn their fat as an offering made by fire, a pleasing aroma to the Lord. And their meat belongs to you, just as the breast and right thigh of the wave offering belong to you. All the holy offerings that the Israelites present to the Lord I give to you and to your sons and daughters as a permanent statute. It is a permanent covenant of salt before the Lord for you and your offspring." Then the Lord said to Aaron, "You will have no inheritance in their land, nor will you have any portion among them. I am your portion and your inheritance among the Israelites. Behold, I have given to the Levites all the tithes in Israel as an inheritance in return for the work they do, the service of the tent of meeting. No longer may the Israelites come near to the tent of meeting, or they will incur guilt and die. The Levites are to perform the work of the tent of meeting, and they must bear their iniquity. This is a permanent statute for the generations to come. The Levites will not receive an inheritance among the Israelites, for I have given to the Levites as their inheritance the tithe that the Israelites present to the Lord as a contribution. That is why I told them that they would not receive an inheritance among the Israelites." And the Lord instructed Moses, "Speak to the Levites and tell them, When you receive from the Israelites the tithe that I have given you as your inheritance, you must present part of it as an offering to the Lord, a tithe of the tithe. Your offering will be reckoned to you as a grain from the threshing floor or juice from the winepress. So you are to present an offering to the Lord from all the tithes you receive from the Israelites, and from these you are to give the Lord's offering to Aaron the priest. You must present the offering due to the Lord from all the best of every gift, the holiest part of it. Therefore say to the Levites, when you have presented the best part, it will be reckoned to you as the produce of the threshing floor or winepress. And you and your households may eat the rest of it anywhere. It is the compensation for your work at the tent of meeting. Once you have presented the best part of it, you will not incur guilt because of it, but you must not defile the sacred offerings of the Israelites, or else you will die. All right. I am feeling the heat up here. A little bit woozy, I guess. Numbers chapter 19. Then the Lord said to Moses and Aaron, "This is the statute of the law that the Lord has commanded. Instruct the Israelites to bring you an unblemished red heifer that has no defect and has never been placed under a yoke. Give it to Eleazar the priest, and he will have it brought outside the camp and slaughtered in his presence. Eleazar the priest is to take some of its blood on his finger and sprinkle it 7 times toward the front of the tent of meeting. Then the heifer must be burned in his sight. Its hide, its flesh, and its blood are to be burned, along with its dung. The priest is to take cedar wood, hyssop, and scarlet wool and throw them onto the burning heifer. Then the priest must wash his clothes and bathe his body in water. After that he may enter the camp, but he will be ceremonially unclean until evening. The one who burned the heifer must also wash his clothes and bathe his body in water, and he too will be ceremonially unclean until evening. Then a man who is ceremonially clean is to gather up the ashes of the heifer and store them in a ceremonially clean place outside the camp. They must be kept by the congregation of Israel for preparing the water of purification. This is for purification from sin. The man who has gathered up the ashes of the heifer must also wash his clothes, and he will be ceremonially unclean until evening. This is a permanent statute for the Israelites and for the foreigner residing among them. Whoever touches any dead body will be unclean for 7 days. He must purify himself with the water on the 3rd day, and on the 7th day, then he will be clean. But if he does not purify himself on the 3rd and 7th days, he will not be clean. Anyone who touches a human corpse and fails to purify himself defiles the tabernacle of the Lord. That person must be cut off from Israel. He remains unclean because the water of purification has not been sprinkled on him, and his uncleanness is still on him. This is the law when a person dies in a tent. Everyone who enters the tent and everyone already in the tent will be unclean for 7 days, and any open container without a lid fastened on it is unclean. Anyone in the open field who touches someone who has been killed by the sword or who has died of natural causes, or anyone who touches a human bone or a grave, will be unclean for 7 days. For the purification of the unclean person, Take some of the ashes of the burnt sin offering, put them in a jar, and pour fresh water over them. Then a man who is ceremonially clean is to take some hyssop, dip it in the water, and sprinkle the tent, all the furnishings, and the people who were there. He is also to sprinkle the one who touched a bone, a grave, or a person who has died or been slain. The man who is ceremonially clean is to sprinkle the unclean person on the 3rd day and on the 7th day. After he purifies the unclean person on the 7th day, the one being cleansed must wash his clothes and bathe in water, and that evening he will be clean. But if a person who is unclean does not purify himself, he will be cut off from the assembly, because he has defiled the sanctuary of the Lord. The water of purification has not been sprinkled on him, he is unclean. This is a permanent statute for the people. The one who sprinkles the water of purification must wash his clothes, and whoever touches the water of purification will be unclean until evening. Anything the unclean person touches will become unclean, and anyone who touches it will be unclean until evening. Whew, so long reading. I don't know if I can make it up here because it's kind of hot. We'll keep trying though. Let's see. Numbers chapter 20. In the 1st month, the whole congregation of Israel entered the wilderness of Zin and stayed in Kadesh. There Miriam died and was buried. Now there was no water for the congregation, so they gathered against Moses and Aaron. The people quarreled with Moses and said, "If only we had perished with our brothers before the Lord. Why have you brought the Lord's assembly into this wilderness for us and our livestock to die here? Why have you led us up out of Egypt to bring us to this wretched place? It is not a place of grain, figs, vines, or pomegranates, and there is no water to drink." Then Moses and Aaron went from the presence of the assembly to the entrance to the tent of meeting. They fell face down, and the glory of the Lord appeared to them. And the Lord said to Moses, "Take the staff and assemble the congregation. You and your brother Aaron are to speak to the rock while they watch, and it will pour out its water. You will bring out water from the rock and provide drink for the congregation and their livestock." So Moses took the staff from the Lord's presence just as he had been commanded. Then Moses and Aaron gathered the assembly in front of the rock, and Moses said to them, "Listen now, you rebels. Must we bring you water out of this rock?" Then Moses raised his hand and struck the rock twice with his staff, so that a great amount of water gushed out, and the congregation and their livestock were able to drink. But the Lord said to Moses and Aaron, "Because you did not trust me to show my holiness in the sight of the Israelites, you will not bring this assembly into the land that I have given them." These were the waters of Meribah, where the Israelites quarreled with the Lord, and he showed his holiness among them. From Kadesh, Moses sent messengers to tell the king of Edom, "This is what your brother Israel says. You know all the hardship that has befallen us, how our fathers went down to Egypt, where we lived many years. The Egyptians mistreated us and our fathers. And when we cried out to the Lord, he heard our voice, sent an angel, and brought us out of Egypt. Now look, we are in Kadesh, a city on the edge of your territory. Please let us pass through your land. We will not cut through any field or vineyard or drink water from any well. We will stay on the king's highway. We will not turn to the right or to the left until we have passed through your territory." But Edom answered, "You may not travel through our land, or we will come out and confront you with the sword." "We will stay on the main road," the Israelites replied, "and if we or our herds drink your water, we will pay for it." There will be no problem, only let us pass through on foot." But Edom insisted, "You may not pass through," and they came out to confront the Israelites with a large army and a strong hand. So Edom refused to allow Israel to pass through their territory, and Israel turned away from them. After they had set out from Kadesh, the whole congregation of Israel came to Mount Hor. And at Mount Hor, near the border of the land of Edom, the Lord said to Moses and Aaron, "Aaron will be gathered to his people. He will not enter the land that I have given to the Israelites, because both of you rebelled against my command at the waters of Meribah. Take Aaron and his son Eleazar and bring them up Mount Hor. Remove Aaron's priestly garments and put them on his son Eleazar. Aaron will be gathered to his people and will die there." So Moses did as the Lord commanded, and they climbed Mount Hor in the sight of the whole congregation. After Moses had removed Aaron's garment and put them on his son Eleazar, Aaron died there on top of the mountain. Then Moses and Eleazar came down from the mountain. When the whole congregation saw that Aaron had died, the entire house of Israel mourned for him 30 days. All right, finished the Numbers part, but still got a ton of chapters left. Let's see how much more it is. It's quite a bit. I might do the second half of the reading down there somewhere. Give it a little variety, but also give my brain a rest from all the heat up here. It just feels kind of like it's a little bit too much. I think I already marked this spot. Just have to get down. I'm sure there's no shortage of spots. I might just turn it around and point it at that wall behind the camera, because that's kind of cool. And then it can be in the shade too. Hopefully everything worked while I was up here. So it'd be nice if everything worked today, so I don't have to do any repeats, like redo some of these readings. Okay, this area is dangerous, so let me get some grip. Oh. The reason it's dangerous is because this stuff can break and slide, and if I were to start sliding, I wouldn't be able to stop, so it's better just to get down on my hands and knees and take it easy. I could be fine standing up because it's not that steep, but I just don't want to take any unnecessary risks. I don't remember which way I came up, probably over toward the camera. Looks like the best spot. Oh, I almost said the rest is easy, and then I'm like falling over. That's funny. Never underestimate. Whew. Yeah, I don't know. I've had a couple times recently. That time is one of them where I just feel like, I don't know, the heat is getting to me, I guess. So I gotta be wise about it and not just continue when it feels like it doesn't feel normal. So, alright, so I was thinking I could just turn the camera straight around and do the last bits of chapter over here because it's nice and shaded. There's all sorts of places to get cool camera angles here. It's not sure where. Maybe it's like humble ending. Like nothing too amazing. I mean, it's still cool, but I think I'll just sit on that log because it looks easy. I have no idea if this is still recording locally because it's getting lots of connection errors, but that shouldn't affect the local, but it might. Guess I'll find out later. Alright, but that also could mean that I won't be able to control the video. I mean the Bible stuff. Okay, that appears to still be working. That's good. Lucky. Okay, I think it'll still work. Hopefully. It's funny because I actually brought my chair today. I kind of wish I didn't because my backpack is way too full and I'm not even using the chair. I already forgot which side I had the chapter on. I think there's a little chipmunk hole in this log, so might be sitting on a chipmunk house. Okay, it's nice though. The shade is very welcome. I think I got too much sun exposure today. I should have had my sunscreen and shouldn't have been out in the sun as much. I think I'll be fine. It's just getting tired. I also stayed up all night last night. That's probably the biggest part of it. All right, I want to finish this reading, and then I'll be on my way. Got 4 chapters, or 4 partial chapters anyway. Signal isn't as strong down here, apparently, because I can't change the chapters quite as fast. Or verses, rather. Matthew chapter 21. As they approached Jerusalem and came to Bethphage on Bethphage, I think. Bethphage? I don't remember how to say that word. Start over. Matthew chapter 21. As they approached Jerusalem and came to Bethphage on the Mount of Olives, Jesus sent out 2 disciples, saying to them, "Go into the village ahead of you, and at once you will find a donkey tied there, with her colt beside her. Untie them and bring them to me. If anyone questions you, tell him that the Lord needs them, and he will send them right away." This took place to fulfill what was spoken through the prophet. "Say to the daughter of Zion, 'See, your king comes to you, gentle and riding on a donkey, on a colt, the foal of a donkey.'" So the disciples went and did as Jesus had directed them. They brought the donkey and the colt and laid their cloaks on them, and Jesus sat on them. A massive crowd spread their cloaks on the road, while others cut branches from the trees and spread them on the road. The crowds that went ahead of him and those that followed were shouting, "Hosanna to the Son of David! Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord! Hosanna in the highest!" When Jesus had entered Jerusalem, the whole city was stirred and asked, "Who is this?" The crowds replied, "This is Jesus, the prophet from Nazareth in Galilee." Then Jesus entered the temple courts and drove out all who were buying and selling there. He overturned the tables of the money changers and the seats of those selling doves. And he declared to them, "It is written, 'My house will be called a house of prayer,' but you are making it a den of robbers." The blind and the lame came to him at the temple, and he healed them. But the chief priests and scribes were indignant when they saw the wonders he performed, and the children shouting in the temple courts, "Hosanna to the Son of David!" "Do you hear what these children are saying?" they asked. "Yes," Jesus answered. "Have you never read, 'From the mouths of children and infants you have ordained praise'?" Then he left them and went out of the city to Bethany, where he spent the night. In the morning, as Jesus was returning to the city, he was hungry. Seeing a fig tree by the road, he went up to it, but found nothing on it except leaves. "May you never bear fruit again," he said, and immediately the tree withered. When the disciples saw this, they marveled and asked, How did the fig tree wither so quickly?" "Truly, I tell you," Jesus replied, "if you have faith and do not doubt, not only will you do what was done to the fig tree, but even if you say to this mountain, 'Be lifted up and thrown into the sea,' it will happen. If you believe, you will receive whatever you ask for in prayer." Okay. 3 more chapters. Yeah, so we are getting close to crucifixion and stuff. Mark chapter 11. As they approached Jerusalem and came to Bethphage and Bethany on the Mount of Olives, at the Mount of Olives, Jesus sent out 2 of his disciples and said to them, "Go into the village ahead of you, and as soon as you enter it, you will find a colt tied there, on which no one has ever sat. Untie it and bring it here. If anyone asks, 'Why are you doing this?' tell him, 'The Lord needs it and will return it shortly.'" So they went and found the colt outside in the street, tied at a doorway. They untied it, and some who were standing there asked, "Why are you untying the colt?" The disciples answered as Jesus had instructed them, and the people gave them permission. Then they led the colt to Jesus and threw their cloaks over it, and he sat on it. Many in the crowd spread their cloaks on the road, while others spread branches they had cut from the fields. The ones who went ahead and those who followed were shouting, "Hosanna! Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Blessed is the coming kingdom of our father David. Hosanna in the highest." Then Jesus entered Jerusalem and went into the temple courts. He looked around at everything, but since it was already late, he went out to Bethany with the 12. The next day, when they had left Bethany, Jesus was hungry. Seeing in the distance a fig tree and leaf, he went to see if there was any fruit on it. But when he reached it, he found nothing on it except leaves, since it was not the season for figs. Then he said to the tree, "May no one ever eat of your fruit again." And his disciples heard this statement. When they arrived in Jerusalem, Jesus entered the temple courts and began to drive out those who were buying and selling there. He overturned the tables of money changers and the seats of those selling doves. And he would not allow anyone to carry merchandise through the temple courts. Then Jesus began to teach them, and he declared, "Is it not written, 'My house will be called a house of prayer for all the nations'? But you have made it a den of robbers." When the chief priests and scribes heard this, they looked for a way to kill him. But they were afraid of him because the whole crowd was astonished at his teaching. And when the evening came, Jesus and his disciples went out of the city. As they were walking back in the morning, they saw the fig tree withered from its roots. Peter remembered it and said, "Look, Rabbi, the fig tree you cursed has withered." "Have faith in God," Jesus said to them. "Truly, I tell you that if anyone says to this mountain, 'Be lifted up and thrown into the sea,' and has no doubt in his heart but believes that it will happen, it will be done for him. Therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours. And when you stand to pray, if you hold anything against another, forgive it, so that your Father in heaven will forgive your trespasses as well." After their return to Jerusalem, Jesus was walking in the temple courts, and the chief priests, scribes, and elders came up to him. "By what authority are you doing these things?" they asked. "And who gave you the authority to do them?" "I will ask you one question," Jesus replied, "and if you answer me, I will tell you by what authority I am doing these things. John's baptism, was it from heaven or from men? Answer me." They deliberated among themselves what they should answer. "If we say from heaven," he will ask, "why then did you not believe him? But if we say from men," they were afraid of the people, for they all held that John truly was a prophet. So they answered, "We do not know." And Jesus replied, "Neither will I tell you by what authority I am doing these things." It's starting to do that thing where it just takes forever. Let me see if I can refresh it or something. I don't know. Luke chapter 19, starting in verse 28. After Jesus had said this, he went on ahead, going up to Jerusalem. As he approached Bethphage and Bethany at the Mount of Olives, he sent out 2 of his disciples, saying, "Go into the village ahead of you, and as you enter it, you will find a colt tied there, on which no one has ever sat. Untie it and bring it here. If anyone asks, 'Why are you untying it?' tell him, 'The Lord needs it.'" So those who were sent went out and found it just as Jesus had told them. As they were untying the colt, its owners asked, "Why are you untying the colt?" "The Lord needs it," they answered. Then they led the colt to Jesus, threw their cloaks over it, and put Jesus on it. As he rode along, the people spread their cloaks on the road. And as he approached the descent from the Mount of Olives, the whole multitude of disciples began to praise God joyfully in a loud voice for all the miracles they had seen. "Blessed is the King who comes in the name of the Lord. Peace in heaven and glory in the highest." But some of the Pharisees in the crowd said to him, "Teacher, rebuke your disciples." I tell you, he answered, if they remain silent, the very stones will cry out. As Jesus approached Jerusalem and saw the city, he wept over it and said, if only you had known on this day what would bring you peace, but now it is hidden from your eyes. For the days will come upon you when your enemies will barricade you and surround you and hem you in on every side. They will level you to the ground, you and the children within your walls. They will not leave one stone on another, because you did not recognize the time of your visitation from God. Then Jesus entered the temple courts and began to drive out those who were selling there. He declared to them, it is written, my house will be a house of prayer, but you have made it a den of robbers. Jesus was teaching at the temple every day, but the chief priests, scribes, and leaders of the people were intent on killing him. Yet they could not find a way to do so because all the people hung on his words. Am I sitting on your house? I won't be here long. Aren't you going to welcome me to your house? I'm just visiting. All right, one more short chapter section. John chapter 12. 6 days before the Passover, Jesus came to Bethany, the hometown of Lazarus, whom he had raised from the dead. So they hosted a dinner for Jesus there. Martha served, and Lazarus was among those reclining at the table with him. Then Mary took about a pint of expensive perfume made of pure nard, and she anointed Jesus' feet and wiped them with her hair. And the house was filled with the fragrance of the perfume. But one of his disciples, Judas Iscariot, who was going to betray him, asked, why wasn't this perfume sold for 300 denarii and the money given to the poor? Judas did not say this because he cared about the poor, but because he was a thief. As keeper of the money bag, he used to take from what was put into it. Leave her alone, Jesus replied. She has kept this perfume in preparation for the day of my burial. The poor you will always have with you, but you will not always have me. Meanwhile, a large crowd of Jews learned that Jesus was there, and they came not only because of him, but also to see Lazarus, whom he had raised from the dead. So the chief priests made plans to kill Lazarus as well, for on account of him many of the Jews were deserting them and believing in Jesus. The next day the great crowd that had come to the feast heard that Jesus was coming to Jerusalem. They took palm branches and went out to meet him, shouting, Hosanna! Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Blessed is the King of Israel. Finding a young donkey, Jesus sat on it, as it is written, Do not be afraid, O daughter of Zion. See, your king is coming, seated on the colt of a donkey. At first his disciples did not understand these things, but after Jesus was glorified, they remembered what had been done to him, and they realized that these very things had also been written about him. Meanwhile, many people continued to testify that they had been with Jesus when he called Lazarus from the tomb and raised him from the dead. That is also why the crowd went out to meet him, because they heard that he had performed this sign. Then the Pharisees said to one another, You can see that this is doing you no good. Look how the whole world has gone after him. I'm ready to be done. I didn't really do that much hiking or, anything that's difficult really. It's just the heat. And the biggest thing I think by far is that I'm just tired. I was up all night, so I haven't slept and haven't had a proper lunch. I did have breakfast though, but anyway, I'm gonna head out. Thanks for joining me. Hopefully I'll get all these videos uploaded before too much time passes. I'm not really editing them, so as long as I have time to do it, I'll get them up pretty quick. But anyway, I'm way behind on doing the editing to cut the chapters apart because of the constraints that I've mentioned before on YouTube, where I can only upload a certain number per day. So those might actually take a whole year, actually. If not a whole year, it's going to be a while before I get caught up. So anyway, thanks for joining me today. I did a lot of stuff. Sorry I couldn't live stream. I mean, I could have if I hiked up higher to the top, but I think this is where I was supposed to be. A lot of cool things happened in the reading for me anyway. I enjoyed it. So thanks again, and I will see you soon, Lord willing. Catch you later.